to start the day with setting intentions, the week with setting weekly intentions, and then the month with setting intentions. So I invite you right now to get in, positioned that you're in your power, if possible, even if you're driving, even if you're listening while you're walking or doing something else, just what it feels like to be in your power and to be intentional. The intention comes from our heart. So often we're just thinking in our head and we're going from one activity from another. So if we go from here and we land into our heart, that our deepest desires and our dreams, that they surface up, that they bubble up from inside of us, that we reach down deep and know that we are worthy and deserving of creating a beautiful, blessed life and prosperous business, setting intention for this October, for this entire month. We all have the most precious asset of all, and that is time. And our time is the most valuable thing, and we hold it in the palm of our hands. We get to decide how we invest our time, and we do so with discernment, setting intention that we optimize our time, that we focus on the things that are most important for our lives, that we check in with ourselves, see what's most meaningful for us to create. Not that we're going to create everything in the next month, but that we create the things that have the most meaning for us right now in our lives. Setting an intention to move through any and all blocks, anything that holds us back, any area that is stuck, any part of us that plays small, any part of us that procrastinates. Setting an intention that we tap in to our infinite power, that we tap in to our zone of genius and our creativity, that we can see what's not visible to our eyes, but that we see as a creator, as we co-create, because we do this in unity with whatever your belief system is, the universe, God, higher power, each other, that we do this as the collective, setting an intention to bring forth the very best and highest version of ourselves, from who we have been to who we are, to who we are becoming. At the end of the month, that we learn, we expand, and that we grow to even more as we step into what's most meaningful into our lives. So setting intention all together right now, we can feel that and what it feels like to tap into your power, to own our power, to actually say, name it, and claim it, that now is our time. So I want to invite you to unmic and join me. Now is my time. Now is my time. Feel free to join me. Now is my time.
My time.
Now is my time.
Now is my time.
I am.
Now is my time.
I am unstoppable.
I am unstoppable.
I am unstoppable.
I love it. See how it goes. There's so much power in us when we come together and we drop from all this and all this into this, and being really mindful about what we're putting out there. We're going to talk about 3 different compartments, which is our energy, who we are. Whatever we put our energy on, our focus on, our attention on is what expands. We get to do that. We get to put our attention on the positive, what's going right, or what is not going right. And we're going to focus on here today on what we are creating in the positive. And we know challenges come up. So we're going to have a place to allow the challenges and the frustration to surface, feel it, to heal it, so that we can keep moving forth in a productive way. So you saw that in the email that I sent out, that today we're looking at the whole big picture of how much time is left. I like to do that in regard to the law of averages. On average, what's the average lifespan? We know it varies from that, but to live each day as if it could be our very last day. You know, the song from Nickelback, if today were my last day, that we actually live that we wake up every day and we say, okay, so we have the remainder of the year, and that we get to look at it, we get to hover above it, and we get to look at the quarter that we have left, the months, the weeks, the days that we have left to the end of the year, so that we can finish the year strong. And what we're going to do in finishing the year strong is then we get to step into 2023 in motion. When something is in motion, it stays in motion. You know, when you're going to the gym, you're working out, you're like, okay, when do I go again? When do I go? That feels really great. All right, I got to go for a bike ride. I got to do this. I got to do that. But when we're sitting around and we're slumped back and we're watching TV, we're like, oh, I'm so comfy here. I don't know if I really feel like putting on my running shoes right now. I don't really feel like going to the gym. So when something is stagnant, then it stays stagnant. So the hardest part is just getting started, getting kick-started. So we're going to look at the whole big picture between now and the end of the year. Then we're going to look at the month. We have the month of October, and we're going to have that runway. So if you have that long runway, you know, on a plane, the plane just doesn't go up. It has the runway, right? And then it's taking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, and now you're off. And we're going to use October as that runway to really, we're going to bookend, we're going to close the year strong, and then we're going to launch with fireworks January 1st for 2023. Now, we know when we're starting a day that our morning doesn't really start in the morning. Our morning starts by our morning routine, our evening routine when we go to sleep. If we don't go to sleep well, we drink a lot of alcohol or eat or, you know, watch TV or see the news or stress about something before we go to sleep, then we're most likely not going to have a peaceful night's sleep. And then we're going to wake up and we're not going to be quite as amped and ready to go. Even if we have a morning routine, I have to do a longer morning routine. So for our year, we're just going to get everything in alignment so that you're already in momentum in January. So for those of you that are joining in that have your best life planner calendar, I call this a whole coaching, a self-coaching system. Go ahead and grab it. And we're laying the foundational work. I see you have yours, Amanda. Okay, great that you have it there. I did pin the link over here in the comments section if you wanted to order a copy for Amazon. Donna, I think you have one. You had ordered it. So okay, great. You have it right there. So if you go to October, everything is evergreen in here. Everything is evergreen, so that you can see the month of October at a glance. We just set intention for October. And it's always great to start something on a high note. to take a moment to celebrate the wins and to acknowledge how far you've already come. So give me an emoji hand if you have acknowledged your wins, or you're acknowledging your wins right now. How far? I've come far. Let's unmic. I've come far. I've come far.
Come far.
Far.
Very far.
I've come far. Oh, look at that. All the
Yes, I've come
hands, all
far.
the thumbs up. I've come far. I've come far. I've come a long way. I've accomplished a lot. I've been able to move through challenges and setbacks. And man, I am still here. I am here. I am here. I am called. I am stepping into my power. I am on the journey of being the very best version of myself. So as we see and connect with the first section, which is the celebrations and acknowledgement, what we celebrate gets repeated. When someone tells us we do a really good job, that's why that whole thing of making your bed first thing in the morning, you don't say to your kids, like if they make the bed, like, you know, you could have pulled the comforter a little tighter and flipped up the pillow a little higher. We go, you made the bed. Like, that is great. We don't go like with a magnifying glass and go, It's the routine. It's the habit. So we want to get in the habit of really celebrating ourselves, to pat ourselves on the back and say, I see you. I am proud of you to take this moment right now. And now we're going to divide things into different categories. And the categories, it's 6 categories that we're going to divide into. We're going to start with the baseline with feelings. How do you want to feel? We think we want money, but what we really want is freedom. So we want to really focus on the feeling first. We think we want a soulmate, someone to love, someone to get married, get married. But really what we want is partnership and love and connection. And we want intimacy. We can have intimacy all sorts of different ways. So what are those feelings? So go ahead and write in the comment section, name out those feelings. Freedom, love, belonging, worth, supported. What is it that we want to feel? And I want to see what some of the comments are here in the chat. Let's see here. We've got freedom. Donna said freedom. Kathy said all of the above, all those cared for, acknowledged, respected. Anybody want to feel respected? I'll go like this. How about confident? Anybody want to feel confident? Anybody want to feel courageous? Mm-hmm. Courageous. Anyone want to feel aligned? Aligned. Because when we tell the universe, a lot of times we'll tell the universe what we want. I want a car, I want a house, I want a man, I want, X, Y, Z. And the universe talks in vibration, in feeling, in emotion. So if that becomes our North Star, how do I want to feel? And we say happy and free. Anybody want happiness? Joy? Anybody want that? If we tell the universe, joy, please. I am open to receive. I want joy. I want happiness. I want freedom. I want love. Then the universe says, sometimes we think it's over here in door number 1, but the universe, it's in door number 2, but we keep staring at door number 1. We're like, door number 1, that's where all my things are. And we're staring at door number 1, and door number 1 is closed. And we're like, but I'm doing all this stuff. But the universe talks in a whole different language. So if we say freedom, joy, happiness, then abundance, then it comes in different ways. And then we know that we hit the mark. Like I did have joy this month. I did feel these things. I felt really connected, loved, and supported. I really feel these things. So as you're writing them down, you're actually feeling them. Now it's important we hear these things, but how often are we actually in the practice of it? So we're going to do it together. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, because when we close our eyes, then we disconnect from distraction and see what is represented for you for this month that represents freedom for you. Perhaps it's seeing a check, a deposit in your Bank of America account, and that feels like freedom to you. And you're paying your car payment or your mortgage, or you're buying gifts and you get to buy beautiful gifts for somebody. What does freedom look like for you? Freedom might be flexibility to be able to travel and get on Zoom calls and still see clients if that's what you do. Is that freedom for you? See that trip, and you're able to integrate all these pieces into your life. The freedom to be able to take some time for self-care for yourself. To have the flexibility and freedom for self-love, going to a museum, going to an art show, getting your nails done. These are all different. They're going to be interpreted all different from each one of us. The word freedom. And now love. What does love look like for you? Love this month in your life. Love that you give and love that you receive. That you feel that love. Maybe it's going outside to the beach and just feeling a beautiful sunrise, and you just love it so much that it reminds you that we are just loved by nature. It doesn't have to tangibly be a person that brings up the feeling of love. Think about the things that you love doing. Cooking, gardening, your hobbies, your business. See the things that you love. And then we're just saying more of that, please. More of the freedom, please. More of the love, please. Now, confidence. Speaking on stage. Doing a TED Talk. And you're just priming your mind. Maybe it's not this month. You're priming going forward a TED Talk. Or a talk. Any kind of talk. Writing a book. Seeing the emblem that you're a best-selling author and what that feels like. Accomplished. What is accomplished for you? What does that feel like in your body? Are your shoulders back a little? Like, are your shoulders back? Are you sitting a little straighter? Accomplished. You walk in the room with more confidence. Accomplished. What is that? Sending out the newsletter that you said you were going to send out. Finding a copywriter so that you could send out the newsletter. What that actually feels like. A hooray. What success feels like. That you feel successful. Where do you feel success in your body? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And what does it look like? Success. It's different for each one of us. And take a moment there with success. Play around with the vision of success. we don't get the full picture when we just scratch the surface. Go deeper. Give yourself full permission. What does success look like? Making a decision, a financial decision, without worry. And if you notice a tendency to go into a little bit of doubt and fear, what it feels like to be able to release and let go. I give myself permission to release and let go. And how that feels, how soft it feels in your body. Like you've been carrying bricks and the weight of the world on your shoulders. And then you just put down that weight, releasing and letting go. That we have a tendency to define things as good or bad, that we neutralize our thinking. And to be guided. What does it feel like to be guided and supported and held, infinitely respected and loved and honored and cherished? To feel that, what that feels like. And now with every part of your being, I want you to visualize, because we're mind, body, spirit, right? So we have our mind, we have our body, we have our spirit, but the physicality of our body, we have visceral experience when we feel. So that you are in the energy of the very highest and best, what that feels like when you've been ultra proud of yourself. And in your mind, give yourself a high five. Give yourself that acknowledgement. And then we're going to join back here together. Now, if you had something that came up for you when you released, then write that down, because what we name, we claim, and then what we do is we dissipate the energy around it. If it's a heavy, dense energy, we soften the energy around it. I know for me, when it comes to releasing, it's a every day, whether it's a small little thing. I had a client today that I spent a lot of time with, and she's a VIP client. I spent a lot of time with her, and I always like to, I like to do so many things for her, like when we're together. Today, I had to give myself permission to not be the end all, and that I have to like over deliver. My goodness, I do so much. I was like, it's okay when, like, you can say you got a hard stop, and I noticed how it felt. And I had to speak up and use my power, because we had a meeting with somebody else that wanted to get into the website. And I was like, we're here to produce video, and this is what we're doing. And this is where we're going. I have a hard stop. But, I had to notice that, like, I'd like to, they want to tie me into the other part of the project, but today is not the right time for that. We came together for this, right? But I had to release my wanting to solve everything for everybody, like right then and there, and know there's always enough time, and that we have to follow a certain cadence, because we can have a tendency sometimes to overgive. I don't know anybody else like that. Overgivers, the overgivers, we have to speak it out, because we'll go right to the edge, and then we'll just keep going and say, okay, abrupt stopped here, use your voice. So the release part, the success part, what did success look like? Add it in the comments section. What was success looking like for you? What did that feel like for you? Did you have a memory? Are you creating a new memory going forward? You take the memory from the past because your body has already recognized that feeling, and then you want to cascade it forward, which we're stepping into now, the reverse engineering. That I am known as the reverse engineer queen. I've been teaching reverse engineering for a decade. I have a complete system around reverse engineering. And the reverse engineering starts with the feeling first, that you are able to go forward and feel it as if it already happened, because we are teaching our body in advance. It's a dress rehearsal so that the body then tries to match and mirror the feeling. If you keep getting in the feeling of love, you keep getting in the feeling of abundance and success, you get into that feeling. What's going to happen is anything that's not that feeling, it's going to go out of your peripheral and front and forward, the things that are going to draw that feeling to you, because it's in memory. That's why we repeat memory things that have happened over and over again. So we want to go back to the good feeling memory and teach our body so the future self embodies more of that. So the success that we have felt, the moments where we have felt the abundance peaked, and then we have to carry that abundance in. Then it becomes a disruptor. What happens is if you start feeling lack, your body goes, wait a second here. That's not norm for us. Our norm is abundance. That's the feeling that is, we now are used to the feeling of abundance. So if it doesn't match up, it's a mirror, like attracts like. So you want to get into the feeling of that. So you reverse engineer the emotion first. So it is the end of the month. It's the last day of the month. And I am so proud of myself this month. This month, I accomplished so many things. And the things I didn't accomplish, that's good. Because I have focused on what's most important. I'm proud of myself. I feel so calm and proud and joyful and successful and then see how my body then and accomplished and confident. I got up early in the morning. I followed through with my commitments. I launched my X, and I launched my and I took my Z to the next level. And I took those steps. And then when I started to question myself, because always add in that, because we do question ourselves, we do go into doubt and fear and worry. And when I felt fear creeping in, I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hello, fear. I know that you are false evidence appearing real. So I see you, fear. I see you. Now that's my ego playing small, but I'm going to take that fear and I'm going to put love over fear. I'm going to put my self-worth, and I can do it pep talk over the fear. And when I felt that fear, I marched my butt in front of the mirror and I looked myself square in the eyes and I said, you got this. You got this, because you are strong, courageous, and fearless. And I did those affirmations. And then when fear popped up, and actually this month I've noticed that part of me has really started to soften. And the confident part of me, and confident in a way that feels good, that has those soft round edges around it. And the technology that made me a little crazy sometimes, I rocked my technology this month. I figured out some stuff. So it is the end of the month, and I got my technology to the next level. I took action steps in my big project. I'm so proud of myself. I'm getting ready to launch my book, and I am confident that I am going to be a best-selling author, and that my book is going to get in the hands of the right people, and that I acknowledge that I am making an impact in the world. So we start with the feeling. The feeling then starts to dictate what is on your priority list. your priority list. So the categories are, we'd be remiss if we don't go into these categories because they're all important. Health and vitality. Health and vitality, it's energy. You don't feel good. When you feel good, you can do good. When you don't feel good, you can't really do that much, right? So you want to feel good. So you got to take care of you. And what does feeling good look like for you? Feeling good for me, what feeling good for me looks like is I absolutely have to go get fresh air. Fresh air matters. I've got to be outside. I got to have a window open. I got to go for a walk. I got to see the sunrise. I got to see the sunset, not every day, like not all these things every day, but I got to do these things for my health and vitality. I've got to work out. I've got to eat healthy. I eat crappy. Then my vitality and health is like going to go decline and go downhill. So those things that you're committed to for your health, drop it in the comment section. And by the way, Brian, I see your message in here to have your home, that you can welcome many people. You carry that vision because you want a beautiful home where you come together and you have people over, you break bread together, you cheers together, you create business together. So you have this home that's comfortable, that's welcoming to people, that you feel safe in and comforted, that you love, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Hydrate. Amanda. Oh my goodness, hydration. Hydration is everything, right? Like, say, okay, hydration. You want elevated energy, you need hydration. So we have some of these shares here because we can say, hey, I'm going to take Amanda's hydration. You go for it, right? You want that home, you want a certain home. Literally, I have all of the books of reverse engineering that I have used for the last 15 years. I want to put them in a Smithsonian Institute or something, because anybody who goes through those books, following this process, I know I used me doing the clinical research, doing the research, and 70 to 75% of it has all happened. That is the highest statistic for me. It's like, okay, so I just buff it up another margin, there. Now, it hasn't all happened in a year. We overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5. So that's why it's a lifelong journey. We want it and we want it now. It might not be for our highest and best good. And maybe it's door number 1 and we're not supposed to be focused at door number 1. Maybe it's door number 2 or door number 3. And that door stays closed for a reason. Ultimately, we know it's God's plan, or whatever you believe in, that it's that plan. So your health and your well-being, that we hold that sacred, that is our priority. Number 2 is relationships and community. Everything comes from relationships. We're not doing this in a silo. We want love in our lives. We want to give love. We want to receive love. We want relationships. We want people that we can laugh with, people that we can exercise with, people that we can call at 2 o'clock in the morning. If there's like a really something in our lives and we really need to lean on somebody, we need those relationships. And our business, from day 1, my business has involved having other people. It's been about building community. It's been about building partnerships. It's been about, many of you know, the co-author book, doing things, I can write books. I've written books on my own. There's some of my books, but there's our co-author book back there too. The co-author book is 22 people together, then celebrating the best-selling status. It's a lot more fun celebrating with other people. It's a lot more fun going to conferences all together. Got 2 invites for conferences for co-authors this week. How exciting. I wouldn't be so excited to go to a conference and set up a table, but to go with the other co-authors and do book signings, all that, that's really fun, right? So it's about our relationships. So drop in the chat one of your strategic goals for the next 88 days between now and the end of the year, building relationships. And to think about, it's not how, it's who. We have to know the what, like what do we want to feel? and what is it that we want to focus on for our lives. We have to know the what, but we spend so much time focused on the how. It's the who. You have your strengths, find somebody else that has other strengths. You either get in the room, pay them to get in the room. It's the best investment. If there's somebody that is ahead of you, and listen, everybody who's on this journey, they don't want to be on this journey alone. They are here because they have a calling inside of them. This is not for the faint of heart, like to do all this work and commit the way that we commit. You don't become a speaker because I think I'll be a speaker because I want to be famous. You do it, you want it because you have a mission and a message in your heart. And most of the time it got born out of tremendous pain. So that is your relationship. Lean on others. Donna said, lean on others and connect with others that get it. Learn to ask for help. Can we have a mic drop on that? Ask for help. You know, my mom is going to be 90. She has to ask for help for everything. We have to ask, we bookend our lives. It's like God's little message. And then what happened to us in the middle? When you're a baby, you have to ask for everything. I want that. I want that. I want that. I want that. I'm hungry. I want that. I want. So we have to ask for everything. We're a baby. We can't do anything. And then we become that again when we're 90 and when we're a senior, we can't do for ourselves. We have to ask again. We have to ask things like, can you hand me the walker over there? Like that's the kind of thing. And then in between, we don't ask. The bookend of our lives that we have to rely on other people for us to have the survival piece. So I love that you wrote that down. The next category is business and career. If this is a big one for you between now and the end of the year, put a heart in the emojis. Let's find that if that's you, because we're heart-centered entrepreneurs. So if business is a biggie for you, look at all those hearts. Look at all those hearts. So when you come from this place to be able to rattle off really quickly your mission and your vision for your business so that you can speak your message. My mission is to inspire very specifically 10 million people. It could be 1,000 people. It could be 100 people. But for me, it is 10 million men and women, because I include men. You'll always see men in everything that I do. Men and women from around the world, because I'm very specific. I want it to be global community, to tap into their power, and use their speaking voice for good in the world, to make a positive impact during their lifetime. That is my mission. When you lead with your mission, like your business, when you have a business, if you notice, just pay attention, businesses that lead with their mission. If you go on someone's website, my mission is right on my website. If you lead with your mission, people will lean in, because we're very skeptical with people. Like, we have that whole thing about the used car salesman just want to sell us something. If we feel sold to at all, we don't like it. We want the attraction marketing in place. And when you lead with your mission, people cannot only hear you, they can hear you, but you don't want them to just hear you. You want them to feel you. What do you want them to feel from you? That you are authentic, that you are congruent, that you are who you say you are, that you walk your talk. These are the things that we want to feel. And we have radar up. We have this little antenna. And we're like, okay, who's the real deal? The minute we see phony, we hear like this alarm bell. Beep, 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 beep. Something's awry here. Something's awry. Something's off. I don't know what it is, but if it's off, I'm out. Right? Anybody feel that? If it feels off, we're out. So we're focused on being with people of the highest integrity. So in your business, when you're messaging, because your messaging is so important in your business, as a speaker, as a coach, you're messaging in your email, you message on your website, you're messaging all the time. And when you're writing books, your messaging is really important. So your message, to get in the feeling of alignment of your truth, and then it matches up with somebody else's alignment, and then all of a sudden you've got an attraction energy going there, and then people will gravitate to you. And it does happen over time. It takes time. I will tell you, being in my business now for 12 years, now people now come out of the woodwork, people that have been watching me for 12 years, it took them 12 years to say, okay, she is a real deal. And many of them happen to be very close friends or referrals of, in the stays, like in the family, but they watch a very, very long time. Again, we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5. So as transparent as we can be. So as in our business and career, where's your messaging? Everything is like in your messaging. And what are those goals? And also, I'd be remiss, I'll share with, one of the things that I'm focused on this month is really updating testimonials, right? So where in your business, like, can you tweak things? I'm asking people that have been using my products or service, like, if you have one of my best life journals, can you go on Amazon and do a review or something like that? Because those are the things, like, that we're always tweaking little things. Tweaking things. So where in your business are you focused on not 100 things, but 3 things that can move the needle forward? Just 3 things. The only 3 things that I'm focused on right now, only 3 things. I'm working with my clients. So that's 1/3 of my thing. That's a big third of my thing. I have another co-author book. So the co-author book, that's another huge thing. Then the other piece is all the online to support those 2 things. That's it. That's enough. Don't throw anything. I'm not going for a TED Talk right now. It's on my list sometime, not now. I'm not doing a lot of like traveling, speaking. I'm not doing that right now. Like, you can only, like, speaking is a thing. Like, it's a whole category. If you're focused on that thing, focus on 3 things. Your 3 things. If you want to add your 3 things in there, go ahead and put your 3 things in the comment section. And now next we're going over, because when we name it, we claim it, we're putting it out there. The next thing is finances and money. We can't just say, I want to make money to the universe. That's like saying, I think I want to travel to California. Like, where in California? That is one really big state. So we can't just tell the universe that we just want to be vague. And we also don't want to do something that feels really incongruent. If you tell the universe that, next year I want to make, $1 million, well, you can only go to the top of your belief system. So looking at the remainder, your 88 days, chunking it down to 31 days now, and to see what that looks like. And I always like giving a range to the universe, like, give a range. So you can say to the universe that this month I want to make, let's say you're starting out, you want your first client. Like, this happened with me, with one of my clients. She literally launched a couple days ago, right? Literally just launched a couple days ago. So the range, like, started like at the lower end, right? Like $500 or $600 all the way up to a few $1,000s, right? Just launch. And what happened is, like, literally, like, we hit that first lower range, like that first 3 days, like we hit it. Now, so now it's building her confidence. Like, you build that, and then it's highly likely that she's going to go to the next level. right? She's going to be able to integrate that feeling and identity. So to know what that looks like, visualize it, feel it, and give gratitude for it. I am grateful for all the abundance that's coming. Literally, I'm recreating my prosperity gratitude book, which is the 30-day challenge, which I will kick off in the future, but focusing on what you're grateful for. Literally, somebody pays for your coffee when you're out. Like when we are really responsible with what we have and we're really in the gratitude for what we have, then the universe gives us more. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry and there were major layoffs at different points in my industry and even in my company. And I was in this, I felt like I was in this vortex that I was like really protected. And every time I had a company car and I had a company credit card and I put gas in my car, every time I put that credit card, I couldn't believe it. I mean, we were broke growing up. We were on food stamps, paying for gas. I remember bumming 25 cents to get gas in my car. I remember trying to get gas and trying to figure out how to get gas in my car. And when I got divorced, my husband turned off the credit card. I couldn't get gas in the car. So the gas in the car thing is like a really big deal for me, right? Gas in the car. Like that was a highly stressful time for me. How do I get gas in the car? Every time I would put that credit card in, I couldn't believe that I had a company that was paying for that gas. Every time I stood at the gas pump, and I just said, "Oh my God, thank you so much that I get gas. I don't have to just put 5 in. I don't have to hit the little thing and pull it out. I could fill that whole thing up. Not a worry in the world." That's freedom, right? Not a worry in the world. I fill that whole thing up, and I really do believe that I didn't get laid off ever, because I was just like so grateful for every time I filled the tank up, which when you're in sales, you fill that tank up a lot, right? So to think about that and jot down a few things. And then lastly, that we're going to end with is contribution and spirituality. That piece right there. When we give before we can give, it is a very dicey road, because we want to give after we have. I will be the most generous person when I make a certain amount, and then I'm going to give. And it's very scary. And it's something I've had to walk myself off the cliff on. And it still comes up that when you invest and you do things and you donate and you contribute, it's take a breath and trust. And in your $100 bill, you'll say, in God we trust. And we have to trust that when we put it out there, not irresponsibly. Again, coming from a place where we're really grounded in our energy, that this is for the greatest and highest good of all. When you hand that money over, you're not thinking, "Oh my God, this is my heart. This is my gift." And it's a training for a lot of us, because we hold on to things. And we're all generous. We'll say we'll be super duper generous when we make some money. Just wait, world. I'm going to be donating like crazy. I'm going to be doing all these things. If you can get the chutzpah and the courage up to do it beyond your comfort zone, go to your comfort zone and then stretch beyond the comfort zone. And then just allow that, and just, you do all those other components. The really cool thing about the system, where you have everything in a system, by the way, you have your validation. You go back, you're like, all these good things happen. I know that there was something I wrote about that in July. I know there was something I wrote about that in November. Oh yeah, I started writing all that gratitude about the abundance. I started reverse engineering this, and then I started giving, and I started giving a charitable contribution to this organization. By the way, that's, we're using the book projects to be our nonprofit arm. 100% of the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds for this go to United Way. So this is This is like everything that comes in goes to United Way. This is a charitable arm. And when we